Hello everybody, so I made a video about my identity and how I was mixed, and I thought I'd go more into detail. Even though I already shared my DNA results, my family's DNA results, I thought I'd put it in one video and talk about it. So my family could identify with two terms, either biracial or multiracial. For the most part, I think they're just biracial. So I guess we're biracial and multiracial. Um, but at one point they were biracial and at one point they were multiracial. So whatever term I use, I hope you guys understand because I know since we have three races, since my mom is three races, she can't really be biracial, so she's more like multiracial. So yeah, let me go into the video. So um, my mom is
56.1 Native American,
she is
36.3 European,
and she is
4.1 Sub-Saharan African,
so my mom is mostly Native American and she is a little bit of European and not a whole lot of African. Um, Now let's go on to my grandpa. My grandpa is 67.8 Native American. He is 25.8 European. And he is 3.6 Sub-Saharan African. So my grandpa is also more Native American than European. Um, and he and he and he is more European than Sub-Saharan African. So my grandpa has three races. He is made up of three races. My grandma is 49.3% Native American, 42.0 European, and 5% Sub-Saharan African. So my grandma is also more Native American than European, and she is more European than Sub-Saharan African. So she has three races within her identity. Um, so yeah, you could say she is multiracial. The same for my grandpa, multiracial. The same for my um, mom, multiracial. But somewhere along the lines, some of her relatives were biracial. Um, so I thought I'd share that. I have not tested my great grandparents because they're dead. If not, I would have tested them. Um, but yeah, so that's what I mean when my family is multiracial. We're mostly Native American and European. Oh, I just wanted to talk about. So since we come from my mom, since she comes from a mixed family, you are gonna get like mixed children, like my mom's children, like my grandma's and grandpa's children. They had like mixed children, like they had like dark skin and light skin and my type of skin. Um, so I wish my mom would make videos about like how it was for her growing up in a mixed family and stuff, like, but she doesn't really talk about it. um she does talk she tells me a few stories, having like a mixed sister, or a light skinned sister, um or whatever you call them light skin, white passing, whatever. um she has a few stories that I know of. And also I wish my aunt would like make a video about how she's white passing. I think that'd be cool. um, well, an interesting story because a lot of people think she's white. Like she has brown hair, green eyes. She passes as a white person. My mom, she passes like as I think she just passes like if you look at her, I think you're gonna just be like Mexican, um, because she's like my skin tone. She looks like me, so even though she's mixed, she's still got like she still looks like me. She still looks Native American. Um, but I think like those would be interesting stories. But unfortunately, none of them make YouTube videos. Um, but I like to hear stories like that. Like I think it's interesting. Um, but yeah, like I did not grow up in a mixed family. Like all my family members. Oh, okay. So when I mean all my family members, I mean my mom, my dad, and my brothers. We're all the same color. We're all brown. We all have black hair. We all have dark brown eyes. So I don't know how it is to grow up in a mixed family because all my brothers are brown or like light brown and dark brown. We're like that. So um, I don't know how it is to grow up mixed. My mom's the one that only experienced that because she grew up with a mixed family. Her family's mixed, so they got like if you look at my family, like you're gonna see my uncle that's darker than me. Like he's really dark. He's darker than me, which is shocking. And I'm like so confused how he's my uncle. And my aunt is white, green eyes, brown hair, and I'm confused. Like I was confused at one point, like how she's my aunt. Um, and my mom is brown, so I'm not like confused at all. But yeah, like I remember like I was like, what if my aunt is not my aunt? Because when I took the DNA test, I was like, what if she's not my aunt? You know, because she's white and my mom is brown, so I was like, that's something that's um, how do I say it? That's a little bit strange, but no, like I said, my aunt. Okay, my aunt took a DNA test too. Let me see if I find her. Okay, so what was I gonna say? Okay, so my aunt, she ended up being my aunt just because the DNA test told me like, oh, she's your relative. So I was like, okay, that's kind of strange that she looks like this, but whatever. It was confirmed, and that's because, you know, well, first of all, I was just concerned because my parents never really talked about race or being mixed. My mom never identified as mixed. She never identified with any race. So for me, it was all confusing, and it was interesting to learn about. So that's why I was just like curious. Okay, but I want to do the comparison between. I already did the comparison a long time ago between my mom and her sister, but I will do it again. So even though my mom and my aunt are different color, let's see what my aunts got and let's see what my mom got. It's loading. It's loading. Okay, so my aunt is
55.2 Native American.
my mom is
56.1 Native American.
my aunt
36.8 European.
my mom
36.3 European.
my aunt is
4.5 Sub-Saharan African.
and my mom is
4.1 Sub-Saharan African.
it's interesting how genetics works and stuff. So that's it. Thank you for watching.